They say, the sky cracked once, not with lightning or thunder, but with silence so profound that the birds forgot to fly. In the deserts of the forgotten places and the ruins of forgotten minds, there have been whispers. Whispers that something is coming. Not a storm, not a war, but something deeper, older, and more permanent. A separation, a divide, a split. Not of nations, but of consciousness itself. A veil will fall or rise, depending on where you stand. And when it does, there will be no going back. You'll either cross over or be left behind. What is this great split? Who or what is orchestrating it? And more importantly, how do you know if you're ready? Don't look away now. Stay with me. What you're about to hear isn't for everyone. But if you're still watching after this, maybe, just maybe, you're meant to know. Before we venture deeper into this rabbit hole of riddles and revelations, make sure you like this video, share it with those you suspect might be feeling the same calling, and subscribe to the Interconnected Zone before you get too deep and forget the way out. And hey, if you're already feeling that pull, consider becoming a member. It's one more way to stay connected while everything else begins to unravel. There is a moment in every age where reality begins to tremble at the edges. Not all at once, not loudly. It starts as a feeling, a disquiet in the gut, an inexplicable anxiety before sleep, the sensation that the world isn't quite aligned. People blame stress, blame news, blame anything that fits the ordinary pattern of rational cause and effect. But the ones who feel it the strongest, the awakened, they know this is different. They feel the split as if it's pulling at the seams of their very thoughts. Time seems to ripple, days stretch, hours collapse, familiar places look subtly different, synchronicities intensify. The same numbers again and again, the same symbols, animals, dreams. Something is calling. Something is nearing. And it wants you to see. It wants you to remember. Comment below if you've felt this shift lately. You're not imagining it. And you're not alone. Ancient civilizations, long thought to be myth or exaggeration, all foretold of this moment in their own way. The Hopi spoke of a day of purification, a time when the world would split into two paths, one of destruction and one of survival. The Mayans hinted at the end of one cycle and the mysterious beginning of another, misunderstood by many as apocalyptic doom. In Eastern traditions, there is talk of the Kali Yuga's end, a turning of the cosmic wheel that brings either awakening or obliteration, depending on one's state of consciousness. Even biblical texts speak of the separation of wheat from chaff, the judgment not by fire or sword, but by resonance. And yet, despite these cultural differences, they all seem to speak of a singular event. A sorting, a dimensional departure, a great split. If all these cultures foresaw it, were they trying to warn us or prepare us? And what if the key to surviving it isn't survival at all, but surrender? The signs are everywhere now, and they're accelerating. Glitches in technology no one can explain. Animals behaving erratically, children remembering things they never learned, people disappearing, not just physically but energetically. You've seen it. You know someone who used to feel there, and now, though their body remains, something behind their eyes is missing, as though their signal has been cut or redirected. This isn't madness, it's metamorphosis. The split has already begun. But It's still subtle enough to be mistaken for coincidence. Not for long. We're nearing the threshold now, and soon those who haven't prepared, not in bunkers but in spirit, will find themselves on a path with no return, while others will walk through a door that no one else can see. Do you feel it too? Comment below if you've noticed friends, strangers, even yourself, fading in and out of this reality, like flickering lights in a dying hallway. This is not about doom, nor is it about blind optimism. It is about resonance, frequency, vibration. These aren't just poetic metaphors. They are the hidden mechanics of the universe. Everything you are, everything you think, feel, and believe emits a frequency. And that frequency either aligns you with the incoming wave or casts you into turbulence. That's the secret the ancient schools guarded. That's the knowledge encoded in pyramid structures, crop circles, and megalithic harmonics. The earth itself is tuning, like a great instrument tightening its strings. And only those attuned to its new frequency will harmonize with what comes next. The rest? They'll remain in the old song, in a world that begins to collapse upon itself. Not in flames, but in forgetting. Tell me in the comments, what have you done or changed or felt in the past year that you can't explain by logic alone? The truth is, this split was never sudden. It has been unfolding for decades, possibly centuries, but only now is it reaching the crescendo. For those attuned, it feels as if two realities are running parallel, one crumbling under the weight of lies, distraction, and synthetic pleasures, and another rising from the roots of intuition, silence, and inner knowing. You see it in the eyes of strangers who seem to recognize you for no reason. You hear it in the sudden quiet between thoughts, like a whisper beneath the chaos. The old world is built on control, repetition, and noise. The new world, the one just on the other side of the veil, reverberates with synchronicity, freedom, and truth. But the bridge between them cannot be crossed by foot. It is made not of stone, but of choices. Subtle, personal, sometimes painful. Every moment you choose presence over distraction, courage over comfort, curiosity over certainty, you shift further toward the current of awakening. And once you reach a certain point, the old world no longer fits. You don't leave it, it leaves you. Behind every major change in history, there is a point of divergence. A moment when those who cling to the past are pulled down by it, while others rise into a new octave of experience. This is that moment, now. But, unlike revolutions and renaissances of the past, this one isn't visible from the outside. The media won't announce it. Governments won't recognize it. It's not about policy or territory. It's about inner sovereignty. It's the return of the true self beneath the noise of identity, ideology, and trauma. Some call it ascension. Others call it the shift. Names don't matter. The experience does. The change is both quiet and seismic, like an ancient tectonic plate grinding slowly beneath our lives, reshaping everything we thought was solid. And if you listen carefully, you'll realize the signs were always there, hidden in language, in dreams, in the misremembered fragments of our own childhoods. The forgotten place we came from, it's not gone. It's waiting on the other side of the split. The mechanics of this split aren't bound by space or time as we know them. It doesn't happen on a specific date, nor is it marked by visible cataclysms, though some will see external reflections of the internal divide. The real split is in perception, in how reality responds to the observer. To the unawakened, the world becomes more chaotic, more controlled, more hollow. But to the awakened, something else begins to emerge. An almost dreamlike sense of fluidity, as if the simulation is thinning. It starts small. Time feels less linear. You think of someone, and they appear. You dream something, and it manifests. The universe becomes less mechanical, more conscious, more responsive. But only if you're tuned in. Only if your inner world begins to reflect the truth you once buried beneath survival. The split rewards authenticity and punishes illusion. That's why so many are breaking down. They're being forced to choose. Do they keep pretending, or do they step into the unknown and let the illusion burn? There is a language that has no words. It speaks through patterns, symbols, and synchronicities. The awakened have always spoken it without knowing, numbers repeating, 1111, 222, 333. Animals appearing at precise moments. Songs that deliver a message you needed to hear at the exact second you needed to hear it. These aren't accidents. They're the breadcrumbs left by your higher self across the fields of this fading world. Follow them, trust them. They're the key to the crossing. The split doesn't ask for faith in a system. It asks for faith in the self. That's why so many are afraid. We've been trained to look outward for validation, for leadership, for safety. But the bridge you need is built inward. Through silence, through pain, through remembering. If you've been feeling called to retreat, to withdraw from the noise of the world, that's not depression, that's preparation. The stillness is not the absence of life. It is the womb of rebirth. Leave a comment if you've been guided into solitude lately, even when it made no sense. You're not retreating, you're recalibrating. The Great Split is not a punishment. It is not a test. It is an inevitability. Every age reaches its end. Every system outgrows itself. The old earth, the old self, cannot contain what is now being born. And so the energies diverge. Not because one is good and the other is bad, but because they no longer resonate. Oil and water. Light and shadow. Awakening is not superiority, it's sensitivity. And with that sensitivity comes responsibility. You must navigate this transition not with fear, but with awareness. Not with isolation, but with discernment. Many will try to anchor you back to the collapsing reality. They'll laugh, mock, label, plead. Not because they are evil, but because they are afraid. They can feel the split too, but they don't yet know how to cross. Some may never. Others will wait until the very last moment. But you, if you are here now, if you're hearing these words, you are already halfway across. Don't stop. Don't go back. Some people think the Great Split is happening out there, in politics, in environmental disasters, in war zones. But what if I told you the real battlefield is within? Every thought, every choice, every moment you engage with either fear or love determines your position on the spectrum of this divergence. It is not about external conditions. Two people can be in the same city, living the same life on the surface, but their realities may already be splitting apart. One may see despair, inflation, collapse. The other may begin to see signs, feel synchronicities, meet people at exactly the right time, be guided to opportunities, or even truths hidden in plain sight. This is not magic. It is resonance, like tuning forks vibrating at different frequencies. One begins to harmonize with a new field, while the other remains trapped in static. That's why the world feels so divided now, not just in opinions or politics, but in perception itself. The same event can be seen as a tragedy or a breakthrough depending on which side of the split you're aligned with. That's not a glitch. That's the split becoming visible. As you progress further, you may begin to experience dissonance, strange physical sensations, time distortion, even emotional storms with no apparent cause. This is the friction between two dimensions trying to coexist within you. The old frequency is trying to cling to you, while the new frequency is attempting to birth itself through you. You are the vessel, the bridge. But to hold both frequencies at once is to endure the pressure of transformation. Many call this the dark night of the soul. It is not punishment, it is initiation. All who awaken must pass through this crucible. The body may ache, the mind may spiral, but beneath it all, the soul is awakening its ancient memory. The memory of who you were before the world told you who to be. That is the self that can cross the divide. Not the roles, not the masks, not the version of you trying to survive, but the true self, radiant and raw. If you felt this inner war lately, this strange sadness or sacred anger, let it move through you. You're not broken. You're being reassembled for the crossing. Our ancestors spoke of a veil, a thin, invisible boundary between the worlds. What they didn't say out loud was that the veil isn't just around us, it's in us. It's the membrane between the false self and the true self, between this reality and the higher realm that's calling us home. The great split is the dissolving of that veil, and when it lifts, those who have done the inner work will see what was always hidden in plain sight. The whispers in your dreams, the inexplicable nostalgia for a place you've never been, the feeling that this world has never really felt like home. All of it begins to make sense, but be warned, when the veil lifts, so too does the illusion. Everything that's false will begin to fall away. Relationships, jobs, habits, even identities. You may lose what once defined you. But in that sacred loss is freedom. You're not being punished, you're being purified. Like a snake shedding its skin, you're leaving behind a version of yourself that cannot survive in the next world. It's painful, but it's also necessary. Comment below if you've lost something or someone lately, and only now are beginning to see that it was the universe clearing your path. Many are wondering, when will the split happen? But here's the mystery. It already has. The timelines have already diverged. The question is not when. It's whether you're ready to shift to the higher one. Time, as you know it, is a construct held in place by collective belief. As that belief fractures, so too does linearity. That's why things feel faster, more compressed, and yet somehow timeless. The split isn't marked by a date on the calendar. It's marked by a shift in frequency. A moment when you wake up one day and realize the world no longer feels the same. Colors seem brighter, people seem stranger. Conversations become impossible unless they come from truth. That's the subtle side of the crossing. You're not flying into another dimension, you're gently phasing out of one. It's like stepping out of a dream you didn't realize you were in and into a reality where you can finally breathe. But to breathe that air, you must first exhale everything you've held that never belonged to you. Navigating the shift is a journey that requires both courage and awareness. It's not merely about moving from one state to another, but about understanding the profound changes that are happening within and around us. This shift is a call to align with our true selves, to shed the layers of illusion and to embrace the unknown with an open heart. It's about trusting the process, even when the path ahead seems unclear. In this transition, we are invited to let go of old patterns and beliefs that no longer serve us. We are asked to step into our power, to become co-creators of a new reality. This is not a passive journey. It demands our active participation, our willingness to face our shadows, and our commitment to the truth. As we navigate this shift, we must remember that we are not alone. We are part of a collective awakening, a movement towards greater consciousness and unity. Together, we can create a world that reflects our highest potential. And here lies one of the great mysteries few dare to speak. Not everyone is meant to cross. This isn't about worth or judgment. It's about choice and soul readiness. Some are here to hold the line. Others are here to watch the collapse. Some are here to awaken others. And a few are here simply to remember. The path is not the same for all. And in this divergence, we must honor each soul's contract, even when it hurts. You may be asked to walk alone, to say goodbye without closure, to be misunderstood by those you once loved. That is the price of clarity in a world drunk on illusion. The awakened often walk through fire alone, not because they are cursed, but because they are clearing the way. And when you finally reach the other side, when the noise fades and the light breaks through, you will realize that every tear, every heartbreak, every lonely night was a preparation. You were not breaking down. You were breaking open. What if I told you the split is not simply a spiritual shift, but a conscious choice between two realities, one artificial and one organic? A choice many don't even realize they're making because it happens subtly in what they watch, what they think, what they believe is real. The artificial world is seductive. It offers comfort, predictability, and endless distraction. It promises control, convenience, and a sense of belonging to a system that seems to know best. But beneath the surface, it's hollow. It feeds off attention, compliance, and fear. This synthetic realm is the byproduct of countless choices made from unconsciousness, a reality generated not by truth, but by manipulation. It's the matrix behind the matrix, maintained by invisible algorithms, cultural programming, and engineered realities. And as the split widens, this system will do everything it can to maintain its grip. It will offer false awakenings. It will sell spiritual bypassing. It will mimic the language of truth, but never its depth. You must learn to discern the vibration of truth, not just the words. On the other side of the veil lies the organic reality, the world that pulses with natural frequency, divine intelligence, and ancestral memory. It is not built on control, but on connection. It cannot be programmed or predicted. It is wild, intuitive, and alive. Those who resonate with this timeline are often drawn to the earth, to quiet, to mystery. They begin to crave simplicity over noise, intuition over instruction, embodiment over ideology. This is the realm of the awakened. But it's not for the faint-hearted. It asks everything of you. It demands the shedding of all falsehoods. And yet, in that surrender, you gain something indescribable. A sense of knowing without explanation. A trust that cannot be taught. A vision of what life was always meant to be. The great split is the point where these two timelines can no longer coexist, and so they drift apart, not as an event, but as a natural separation of incompatible energies. Which world you end up in depends not on where you live, but on how you live. There is a war happening right now, but not one of missiles or armies. It's a war over attention, because attention is the currency of creation. Wherever you place your awareness, you feed that reality. That's the hidden law the architects of the synthetic world understand better than anyone. That's why they bombard you with fear, outrage, and distraction. If they can keep your attention trapped in fear, they can keep you from ascending. But when you pull your focus inward, when you reclaim your presence, and they lose. That's the rebellion the awakened are waging, quietly, individually, but powerfully. Every moment you choose stillness over noise, breath over panic, compassion over judgment, you weaken the matrix. The split isn't just metaphysical, it's energetic. And every soul choosing sovereignty becomes a beacon for others lost in the fog. That's why your awakening matters more than you know. You're not just saving yourself, you're anchoring a new reality into being. Some people feel the split as a background hum. Others experience it more dramatically, through dreams that feel more real than waking life, through visions, downloads, and inexplicable shifts in personality. The truth is, your soul is preparing for something extraordinary. Some will experience what mystics call the quantum jump, a spontaneous shift into a higher dimension of reality where manifestation becomes instant and time unravels. Others will walk between worlds for a while, seeing both the collapse and the rise simultaneously. This is not madness, it's evolution. But to navigate this liminal space, you must let go of the need to explain everything. The mind cannot lead here. Only the heart can. That's the compass that never lies. Follow what feels expansive, not what seems logical. Follow what brings peace, not what brings approval. The path is not marked, but it is guided. And every intuitive nudge, every gentle inner whisper is a step toward the crossing. Perhaps you've begun to notice how fast things are changing. People awakening overnight, systems collapsing within months. Technologies emerging that once belonged to science fiction. This is no accident. It is acceleration. Time itself is folding, compressing, distorting, because we're approaching the event horizon, the point where the split becomes irreversible. That doesn't mean doom for those left behind, but it does mean separation. Energetic realities will become so distinct that interaction between them will feel impossible, like trying to speak across a canyon with no echo. Relationships may fall away not because of anger, but because of dissonance. Places that once felt safe may now feel suffocating. Ideas that once inspired may now seem empty. That's the echo of the old timeline fading. Let it go. Don't resist the unraveling. You're not losing yourself. You're shedding what you were never meant to carry into the next world. And now, let me ask you, Where have you been called to go lately? What truth have you been avoiding? What feeling keeps returning no matter how often you suppress it? These are not distractions. They are keys. The universe is not subtle anymore. It is screaming through symbols, dreams, chance meetings, and sudden losses. If your life has been falling apart, it might be because it's being rearranged. If your identity is dissolving, it may be because it was never real to begin with. The great split is not just the end of one world. It's the revelation of another. And only the awakened, those brave enough to look beyond the veil, will recognize it when it arrives. As you begin to cross the invisible threshold between realities, you may feel a strange sensation, like remembering something you never lived, or waking up inside a dream that feels more real than your life ever did. This is not fantasy. It is memory. Deep, ancient, soul-level memory, reactivating as you move closer to the frequency of your original self. You're not just becoming something new. You're remembering who you've always been beneath the programming, the trauma, the social masks. That's why the crossing feels so raw, so emotional, so powerful. The closer you get to the true timeline, the more the false one disintegrates. You may cry for no reason. You may feel sudden waves of love or grief without a story attached. That's your soul recalibrating, releasing centuries of inherited patterns. The awakened don't just see the world differently, they feel it differently. And once that shift happens, there's no going back. The old world no longer fits because your soul has outgrown it. In this new reality, life begins to respond to you like a mirror made of liquid. Thoughts ripple outward. Emotions carry weight. Intentions crystallize rapidly. This is not coincidence, it's coherence. When you align your vibration with truth, the universe begins to align with you. That's why the awakened often speak of miracles, synchronicities, and a deep sense of being guided. It's not fantasy, it's physics. Consciousness shapes the field, and when you tune your consciousness to the higher frequency, the field rearranges itself in your favor. Not through luck, but through law. But be warned, the higher you rise, the clearer your shadow becomes. The crossing is not an escape. It is an integration. You cannot take your baggage with you into the next world. That's why the inner work is so relentless right now. The universe isn't punishing you, it's purifying you. The fire you're walking through is not meant to destroy you. It's meant to reveal the diamond underneath. Some people expect the new earth to look like a paradise, golden skies, floating cities, instant healing. But here's the truth. They're looking in the wrong direction. The new earth isn't a place you go to. It's a place you bring forth through your own transformation. It manifests through you, through your choices, your thoughts, your integrity. The external world only reflects the internal state of the collective. That's why the real shift happens one soul at a time. You won't wake up in a utopia. You'll wake up as the embodiment of that utopia. The peaceful world you dream of cannot appear until peace exists within you. The love you seek cannot manifest until you've become it. That's the hidden teaching behind every ancient mystery school. As within, so without. The new earth isn't waiting. It's already here, hidden in the spaces between fear and presence, between projection and truth. And the more you embody your true frequency, the more that world becomes visible to you, and you to it. Now you may be wondering, how do I know I'm on the path? How do I know I'll make it through the split? And the answer is simple. If you're here, if you're listening, if these words are igniting something inside you that defies logic but feels deeply familiar, then you're already walking the path. The fact that you're resonating with this message means your soul remembers. And once remembrance begins, the process is irreversible. That doesn't mean it will be easy. You will still face trials. You will still feel lost at times. But the direction of your journey is set. You've answered the call. And now, your higher self, your guides, your ancestral lineage, all of them are rallying behind you. You are not alone, even when it feels that way. The awakened are scattered across the globe, like seeds planted by an invisible hand, destined to blossom together when the time is right. And that time is now. We are approaching the convergence point, the moment when enough souls have awakened, enough hearts have opened, and enough fear has been transmuted to tip the scale. This is the purpose of the Great Split. Not to punish, but to purify. Not to separate out of hate, but to differentiate out of destiny. Some will rise, others will remain. But both are fulfilling a role in the larger unfolding of consciousness. If you feel called to step fully into your power, your voice, your truth, don't wait. The crossing is not something you prepare for, it's something you allow. The bridge is not ahead, it's under your feet, forming with every step you take into authenticity. The more real you become, the more unreal the old world appears. And eventually it disappears entirely, not because you escaped it, but because you outgrew it. Invitation to remember. Take a breath now. Feel your body, feel your heart, feel the truth rising up through you like a tide returning to shore. You are not who you thought you were. You are so much more. You are a fractal of divine consciousness, experiencing itself across lifetimes. You are the dreamer, waking up inside the dream. You are the bridge between what was and what will be. And the Great Split is your invitation to remember. If this resonates with you, if it feels like remembering something ancient, leave a comment. Let us know how you've been navigating this shift. Your story could be the mirror someone else needs to cross. And before we move into the final revelations, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the Interconnected Zone so you don't miss the next signal in this unfolding mystery. Consider becoming a member to support the awakening. If this journey is resonating with you deeply, a super thanks is always appreciated. It helps us keep this light burning. And now we arrive at the threshold, the edge of the known, where words dissolve and only vibration remains. This is the moment where understanding must give way to embodiment. You have walked through shadows. You have questioned reality. You have lost what no longer served and been broken open by the fire of awakening. And here you stand, on the cusp of the greatest crossing your soul has ever undertaken. The Great Split is not just a global event, it's a galactic alignment, a multidimensional ripple sent out across time by ancient intelligences far older than we can comprehend. What's happening now was seen, planned, and encoded into myth by civilizations long forgotten. The Maya called it the turning of ages. The Hopi warned of the day of purification. The Vedic texts spoke of the Kali Yuga giving way to a golden dawn. Even the stars have whispered it, through alignments, eclipses and solar codes, all pointing toward now. We are in the hour foretold. But the true map was never external. It has always been etched in your DNA, waiting for a frequency high enough to unlock it. And now, that frequency is here. The split is a sorting of souls, but not by judgment. It's by resonance. Each soul is being gently drawn toward the world that matches its frequency. Some are magnetized toward technology, control, and the illusion of safety. Others are pulled toward nature, freedom, intuition, and truth. One world will grow denser, more digitized, more synthetic, filled with simulations of connection, but not connection itself. The other will bloom with creativity, community, and consciousness. An ecosystem of awakened hearts, co-creating the future. You don't need to fear where others go. You only need to know where you are being called. And if you listen closely, not with ears, but with spirit, you will hear it. The call isn't loud. It's subtle. It comes in the moments between distractions, in the silence after you stop scrolling, in the breath before sleep. It's a voice you once knew, reminding you that you came here for this. You are not a bystander. You are a node in a vast network of awakening, and every moment you choose love over fear, presence over reaction, you activate that network. This isn't about escaping the world. It's about transforming it from the inside out. The awakened don't run, they remember. They remember how to live in alignment with natural law, how to listen to the earth, how to communicate with spirit, how to walk as multidimensional beings within a collapsing simulation. The Great Split isn't an end. It's a beginning, but it is the end of your illusions, the end of pretending, the end of betraying yourself for approval, security, or comfort. What comes next will not be easy, but it will be real, and that is worth everything. You may feel the weight of two worlds pressing against you right now. That's because you're standing between them, 1 foot in the old, 1 foot in the new. But that won't last forever. Eventually, the pressure will force a choice. You'll either collapse back into density or rise into light. And when that moment comes, you won't need to decide. The decision will have already been made in the quiet choices of your daily life. So what now? You breathe, you ground, you simplify, you follow the thread of truth wherever it leads, no matter how strange, lonely, or wild. You let go of trying to convince others. The split ensures that some will never see what you see, not because they're wrong, but because their journey is different. Bless them, release them, and keep going. The new world isn't found by turning around. It's ahead, waiting for those with eyes to see and hearts willing to break open. Trust your path. You are exactly where you need to be. Every challenge, every breakdown, every strange synchronicity has been preparing you for this crossing. And when it finally comes, when you step through fully, you'll look back and see that nothing was random. Nothing was wasted. You were being guided all along by the intelligence of your own soul. And if you're still here, listening, feeling the fire burn in your chest, then you're ready. You are one of the ones we've been waiting for. The split is not the end of the world. It's the beginning of a new one. And you You are its midwife. So step through. Leave the doubt behind. Leave the fear. Leave the story of who you were. You're not crossing to escape. You're crossing to become. And once you cross, the world will never look the same again. If this journey stirred something deep within you, let us know in the comments. Your voice matters in this great unfolding. Like, share, and subscribe to the Interconnected Zone. This is just the beginning. Consider becoming a member if you feel called to go deeper into the mysteries we reveal. And if this message lit a flame in your spirit, your support through a super thanks helps keep this channel and this frequency alive. Until next time, stay awake, stay aligned, and remember, the veil is thinning, the call is sounding, and only the awakened will cross over.